everybody. I'm going to show you how easy it is to roast spices. I know it sounds so exotic, right? But no, it's incredibly simple to do, and you can do it probably starting today in your own home. The key is to use whole spices, and what you want to keep in mind is when you choose to do this, you can get what I call double duty out of your spices. So you get two different spices, two different flavor profiles from the one spice. Save money, save time. You don't have to run around and buy all this stuff. You can make it at home. So come on over here to my stove top, and you'll see that I've got a small pan. It's already been heating up, so it's nice and warm, but it's incredibly and completely dry. There's no oil in here, there's no water. It's just a dry, basic pan. The idea is the same as if you would dry roast nuts, like pine nuts. So we're gonna keep that pan right there on a medium-high heat, and we're gonna take our cumin seed, and we're gonna go ahead and put about a teaspoon of seed in this pan. Now keep in mind, you don't want to overcrowd the pan. You want it to be a nice little layer of cumin seed. You could do this with any seed. You could do it with coriander seed, with fenugreek seed, a whole seed where the essential oils have not been released yet. Remember, when you grind a spice, you release its oils, its essential oils. You want them to be intact to really get the full benefit of the roasting. Already, you're seeing that steam come off. I just want to shake it a little bit so that it doesn't sit in the one spot and burn. This is very easy to burn, so you can't walk away, and I make that mistake of doing it all the time, especially when I'm working an event and I have folks working with me and helping me in the kitchen. I have one friend, Patrick, who always laughs because I always burn the cumin seed because I underestimate how quickly it's actually going to cook. So look at this and how beautiful and reddish brown it's gotten. Cook it just a little bit more to take it to that next level, but not much more beyond it, because if we do, we are going to burn it. What else can you roast? You can roast cardamom if you want to give it kind of like a roasted sort of taste profile in your dish. So anything that you would normally use in seed form, you can throw in here and give it a little bit of a dry roast. Cinnamon sticks I sometimes work with that way. So here we go. And now it is nice and reddish brown. You don't want to take it much past that. It is really at the point where it could burn, and now you want to let it cool. So we're going to take it over to our counter and let it just kind of cool off for about a minute or two. Because if you try to grind it when it's too warm, it releases steam and it'll start to get a little sticky. So just kind of let it sit there and cool. Let's talk about grinding spices. I know it sounds complicated, like there's so many layers of work, but once you have a system down and you have your tools, just like anything, it becomes more approachable. I actually grind my spices often in a coffee grinder reserved for spices. You don't want to put coffee in here after you've had spices in here. And I opened mine up today and I found that there was some coriander seed that had been roasted and ground. I took it out, but look, it still has the remnants. So what do? Do you wash it? You don't have to. Here's a little hack that I think is so cool. This is raw rice, uncooked. Raw, hard, uncooked rice. We're going to take about 2 tablespoons and we're going to put, let's just throw it all in there. Put it in there, and then we're going to give this a whir, and I'm going to show you what's going to happen. All right, let's take that off and look at this. All of the spice that was along the wall of this has all been collected in that rice. So you don't have to constantly wash this, but you're gonna take this and just dump it and throw it out. So there you go. Ground rice collected all of that remnant spice, which saves you from washing it. I wash it in the sink maybe once every 3 or 4 months, really not more than that. And now it's all beautifully clean. You can wipe it down if you want with a little cloth. I'll just kind of take my finger in there, watch that blade, and just take out the remnants of the rice. You don't want that in your spice later. And then we're going to take our roasted cumin seed and grind that down as well. If you don't have a grinder like this, you can use a mortar and pestle. Super easy to do. It requires a little bit more muscle, but that's okay. It's a good workout, right? So let's take this and put it right into our grinder. It's a little cooler, which is good. And now tap that top a little bit so it all kind of falls down into the base. Wiggle your top. And look at this. It is so fragrant. Oh my gosh. I love the smell of freshly ground cumin or Jeera. And look how simple and easy that was to make. You really cannot replicate the smell or taste profile from a jar that's store-bought. There's just something so special about this. Now, what do you do with it? Well, the most common thing that Punjabis do with it is we sprinkle some into plain unsweetened yogurt. That becomes a ratta. So if you go to the Indian restaurants and you wonder what is that special taste profile that's in there, it's usually roasted ground cumin or Jeera. So we'll put it in there, chop up some veggies, maybe grate up some cucumber, maybe some onion. We'll put it in the yogurt, mix it up, put a little salt in there, and then we serve it along the side of our meals. Another thing you can do is, I love making veggie burgers or any kind of burger. You could take a tablespoon of this and put it right into either your ground down chickpeas, black chickpeas. If you're making meat burgers, ground down meat, just put a little bit in there and it gives it another sort of taste profile. Soups and stews, use it in place of the unroasted cumin seed. There's lots of options, but look how easily you roasted it, you ground it up, and now you've got it ready to use. If you don't want to use it right away, stick it in a glass jar with the lid and just stick it in your cupboard to use later, but super easy to roast your own spices at home.